That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Arkham Manor. Batman Arkham Manor. So I've heard nothing good ever about Batman Eternal. But I feel like it would have helped to at least know what was going on in that. Because most of my problems about this is it is very heavily dependent on the events of Batman Eternal. Like, I looked it up after the fact to try to figure out what the hell is going on in this. Basically, somewhere along the line in Batman Eternal, Arkham Asylum got blown the fuck up. And I'm assuming in Batman Eternal, I couldn't find confirmation on this, but I'm assuming that Bruce Wayne lost all of his money in there. I really don't know, because Scott Snyder's kind of just been doing his own thing with Batman at this point and not really seemingly paying any attention whatsoever to what other people are doing. And if those things are just as bad as his, then I guess that's fine. Seemingly not paying any attention to what anyone else is doing, so I got no impression at any point that Bruce Wayne was not living the high life. Like, I know there was mention of Wayne Manor being turned into Arkham Manor, right at between Endgame and Super Heavy, but hell if I know how that happened, because that was not the impression I got at all during Endgame. But whatever. Was there like a time gap? You know what? I don't even want to think about it because it's just all awful. So anyway, Arkham Manor, though. Once I get over that, once I just accept those as conceits, that Bruce Wayne has gone bankrupt and that Arkham Asylum got blown up, and that one that's much easier to accept. I actually quite enjoyed this. This was actually a lot of fun, really interesting, and it added something to the Batman mythos, as it were, that hasn't really been around before, and I like that. It's kind of vaguely in Batman the Animated Series, but not significantly. What's the name of the character that they give him? Jack Shaw. They add the character Jack Shaw to this, and Jack Shaw, not an independent character, but a disguise, a persona for Bruce Wayne. So there's let me get to the reasoning behind this character. So the city decides to put the new Arkham Asylum in Wayne Manor, since it's, legal bullshit comic books. But Wayne Manor is turned over to the state, and the state decides to make that the new Arkham Asylum, in order to, secure the prisoners, as it were. As the renovations are completed, and patients start moving in, there's suddenly a murder. And Batman's not sure who it is. He thinks it's Zaz, since he's the only prisoner not accounted for. But he needs to be able to be in Arkham in order to solve the case. So he has himself committed under the assumed identity of Jack Shaw. And it's Bruce Wayne with a mustache. Clark Kent's glasses looking a whole lot less stupid now, aren't they? To be fair, this area is one of the only things that the Batman's villains are familiar with when it comes to his face. But you'd think people would be able to recognize Bruce Wayne with a mustache. I know I might look a little younger if I were to shave my face, particularly my fine mustache. But I find it hard to imagine that people just flat out wouldn't recognize me. But maybe. I don't know. So, anyway, the strangeness of that aside, Bruce Wayne assumes the identity of Jack Shaw and enters himself into Arkham. And it's an identity... Okay, and he has a gold tooth. It's an identity that I actually like the idea behind, because he talks about... oh, come on. Come on, where's that? I know it's in narration. I'm sorry, just give me a second. I need to warn the staff. Okay, here we go. The Matches Malone persona is invaluable for studying the gangs of Gotham. A mask to study the inmates of Arkham was long overdue. If this is who... yeah. I like that. That's a good point. After the group session, Jack Shaw has occupational therapy, and that means cheap labor for Arkham. And he's paying his house. I have to admit, I'm enjoying my stay much more than I thought I would. The Matches Malone persona is invaluable for studying the gangs of Gotham. A mask to study the inmates of Arkham was long overdue. I like that idea. Just that Batman would have a Matches Malone for being inside of Arkham. That's smart stuff. That's well written. That's clever. And I think, hopefully this maintains as a part of the Batman mythos. I would like to see that return. For when something Arkham related comes up, for Batman to put himself in there. Not only because it's a good device for storytelling, mustache aside, but also because that's actually reasonably clever. From a thematic point of view. Jack Shaw being Batman, being Bruce Wayne, putting Batman or having Batman commit himself essentially to Arkham Asylum, I find really, really fascinating. There's Arkham Asylum, I am an absolute sucker for. If Arkham plays prominently into your story, I will buy it. Just because I really, really like stuff with Arkham Asylum. And so Batman committing himself and really exploring the theme of Batman's just one of these people that he's fighting. He's just made better life decisions, or he's just on the right side of the law, is a really fascinating idea. And that's what we're dealing with here. Batman is putting himself in there, and it's making him realize that these aren't monsters, that some of these people really are sick. I like that. It's unfortunate that Scott Snyder was doing his bullcrap with the Joker. I will never apologize for thinking Endgame is a pile of garbage. It's a shame that Joker only appears briefly in this story and not as the Joker proper, so it's whatever. I don't care anymore. I don't have the patience to deal with Endgame, or honestly, I give it too much credit because I shouldn't even bother thinking about Endgame, as awful as it is. Anyway, where was I? God damn it, Scott Snyder, why do you have to be such a... Why did your awful Batman writing always have to distract me from good stuff? We did that Joker's Last Laugh episode, and we were kind of stretching for time there, and then we just kind of got on to Endgame, and then we went over the time that I needed. Because I just needed to rant about how much I hated Endgame. So anyway, Batman, Arkham Asylum. Yeah, just Batman being in Arkham Asylum, being around the inmates, and kind of having the realization, yeah, these aren't good people or anything that have had bad decisions, but they're not monsters. They're just legitimately sick. I like that. And seeing how the inmates are treated, it humanizes Batman more, and it makes Batman relate to the people he's sentencing to Arkham more. And I like that. That's good stuff. And there's some really interesting stuff about if Jeremiah Arkham's even sane in this. Some of the art I find a little weird. It varies from issue to issue how much I like it, but there are times, and I just found a panel here that's a pretty good example, where I feel like people are out of proportion or just in really awkward poses that don't quite look human. I don't know, you tell me. Is it just me, or does Batman look like he's doing like a Russian dance? What do they call that when they... what's it called? when they do like this thing. Hey, 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 hey. And like I guess that's a position a human could be in, and maybe that would give you a nice strong kick. But at the same time, I don't think that that's like the position he needs to be in to kick out a wall. It looks really awkward. Yeah, I don't know. You guys can judge my dancing if you'd like in the comments below. Now the thing that I'm not really gonna get into the plot. There's Batman solves the murder and stuff. And we get like a new villain, maybe, probably not. Like these guys never last. There's always like this thing with Batman that people bring up this criticism of, oh, well, he should just be killing these people because whenever he locks them away in Arkham, they just get out again. And so it's morally wrong for Batman to leave them alive. Not true. The popular ones continue to get out. If you want Batman to be right, if you want Batman to be a successful hero that is doing the right thing, quit buying comic books when Joker, Riddler, Two-Face, Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, Bane, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, I don't know, Scarecrow, fucking all of them. Quit buying comics where they break out of Arkham Asylum and are the villain. If you don't want that to keep happening, just quit buying those. And then they will be forced to introduce new villains. Now, if you're like me, you like stories with those characters. So you're going to continue buying them. So don't worry about it. Truthfully, it is entirely an economic thing that the writers try their best to give it a story justification. And it's just something that we have to accept. We have to detach from reality. We have to suspend our disbelief to some extent. And that's just the way it is. But my overall argument is it's only the popular ones that keep getting out. Because I don't know about you, but I've only ever read one story with Crash and Burn. You don't know who they are? It's because Batman captured them in the single issue of comic books that they ever showed up in and put them in Arkham. And apparently it worked because they've stayed locked up. They've not gotten out again, to the best of my knowledge, and possibly they were rehabilitated and released into society to live as productive citizens. That's my entire argument. Have you ever heard of these villains? They were introduced as villains. They were committed to Arkham Asylum. They did not escape. They may have just been released, and we never heard anything about it. So there you go. Black Mask I'll add to my list from earlier. So yeah, this guy, this killer in the walls, he's a new character. He was introduced just for this, and he's interesting. But yeah, he's got absolutely nothing to do with. I highly doubt we'll ever see him again unless Gerry Duggan writes Batman again in the near future. And he might, who knows. Now, the other thing I absolutely adored was Mr. Freeze in this. Joker does have a brief appearance, and there's like a remnant of Clayface. You remember that episode of Batman the Animated Series where it was like a girl? Kind of like that, I guess. There's a remnant of Clayface left in the asylum. Joker comes in briefly, toys around with it to create Clownface, and lets it loose in the asylum, so they have to, deal with this problem. And it's really, really cool, because Jack Shaw Batman runs to the cooler, the fridge, walk-in freezer that they have retrofitted to put Mr. Freeze into, which is it's pretty clever. And so he breaks open the door, and Mr. Freeze is sitting there eating an ice cream cone. And Mr. Freeze is probably my favorite thing in this book. So Jack Shaw goes, Clayface is killing people. You can stop him. Why should I risk my neck? Because I broke the lock on your door and now you have nowhere safe to hide. Very persuasive. And then, that wasn't any Clayface I recognized. I only want to shut it down so I can give myself a fence. Oh, agreed. He was jokerized with toxin. I'll have to run tests when I can. I only want to shut it down so I can give myself a fence parole out of here. Oh, so you can escape. There's only and so Freeze starts investigating. There's only a small amount of liquid nitrogen in my environmental unit. We'll only have enough for one shot. Doesn't look very portable. You'll have to lure it this way. So, Batman lures Clayface to the freezer. And he gets, Jeremiah Arkham along the way. And they get there, and Batman goes, damn it, Freeze. And then, the fridge door opens, and Freeze comes out holding his ice cream cone again. He's like, sorry, no sense wasting ice cream while we wait to die. And then Clownface breaks in a bit closer. Over here, you ugly, and Jack Shaw gets attacked, and Freeze hits him with liquid nitrogen, and then breaks Jack Shaw out. They break Clayface and throw him in the freezer where he'll stay immobilized. Batman punches Jeremiah Arkham in the face and runs to escape. As he and Freeze leave Arkham, nice working with you. We'll have a better chance of escaping if we split up, so don't follow me. And Freeze goes, I'm not leaving. Why? Freeze just falls down in the snow, starts making a snow angel. Because I have nowhere to go. He just starts making a snow angel. That's awesome. And then as it continues, and so Jack Shaw escapes in order for Batman to show up, and he makes sure to leave the Jack Shaw identity kind of out there so that he can come back and raise hell in the future. So anyway, Batman goes and busts the murderer, blah, 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 blah. Harvey Bullock shows up later. And there is an interesting dynamic. As Batman's fighting the guy who's been hiding in the walls and killing inmates, he's finished. He knows it. He knows it. I know it. I decide to make an example out of him. I'll show the Arkham patients that their safety is important too. Now they know that I'll risk my life for them too. Men like this will never be tolerated, especially not in my house. As Batman flies down. I really like that. And the guy bites his tongue off, so now we have a mute Batman villain. And as all that happened out in the woods in front of the house, the guy bites his tongue off, and then Mr. Freeze just comes out. He goes, "He's going to fit right in here, just fine. Nobody asked you, Victor." I really like Mr. Freeze in this. He's so well written. So Batman's leaving, and he's giving him telling Arkham what to do about the new patient and stuff. And as he's leaving, Freeze throws a snowball at the back windshield of the Batmobile, and Batman goes, "The manor became too warm for Mr. Freeze after his cell was damaged. Victor's out on good behavior. Hand him a shovel and put him to work." And then he just peels out and kicks a bunch of snow up over Mr. Freeze, which is great. And then Harvey Bullock shows back up at the asylum because they needed to show him Clayface. And Mr. Freeze is just chilling out in the front yard, grilling. Oof. That thing is all yours. Where do you want me to take it? I don't care, but it's impossible for me to make progress with the mentally ill humans when you lock them away with monsters. Then Mr. Freeze grilling. Ooh, my ears are burning. What the hell is he doing out? Enjoying the privileges that come with good behavior. Now please help me help them. Yeah, okay, I'll get Star Labs out here to collect whatever that thing is. And yeah, it's just, I just really like Mr. Freeze just being kind of a cheeky bastard. And, you know, Batman settles 2 subplots, and then we get one last shot of Arkham Manor as Mr. Freeze has moved his cell outside in an igloo. That's fun. That's just a really cool story. I know I've summarized all the good Mr. Freeze stuff, but this is like the best Mr. Freeze we've seen in a long time. I just really like that. That was really fun. I'm really happy to add this to my collection of Arkham books, because I've got, you know, Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth, Arkham Asylum Living Hell, Arkham Asylum Madness. I'd probably... Obviously, Arkham Asylum Serious House, Serious Earth is hands down the best, no contest. I'd probably put this at number 2. I like a lot of things about Living Hell. Living Hell, at points, may be better than this, but it has a really sharp drop at the end of the story, and so that really bugs me, and it doesn't ruin... Excuse me, it doesn't ruin Living Hell, but it certainly damages it. This is consistently good all the way through. My biggest complaint is a silly, stupid, minor comic book thing, and that is that Batman's able to disguise himself with just a mustache. Because he's still got black hair, black mustache, so... Matches Malone's, usually, you know, changes the hair color, puts on glasses. It's just that the Jack Shaw disguise is so silly. Oh, and I mean, obviously the thing that is so grounded in the canon of the time. The other thing that's really, really, really weird is, and I have no idea what the explanation for this one is, when Batman goes back to the cave and he, like, kind of circles around to go under the mansion, basically, I just really like that the Batcave is under Wayne Manor now, or under Arkham Asylum now. That's really fun to me. So anyway, so when he goes back to the cave, damn it, I skipped it. It's like 2 pages. Where'd it go? Okay, yeah. So he goes back to the cave, and apparently he was just keeping Hush prisoner in the Batcave. I didn't know that at all. It's a really weird one to me. Why? Like, I get that Hush knows Bruce Wayne is Batman still. But why do you have to keep him in the Batcave? There aren't any other, you know, private prisons that these superheroes have. Like, I have to believe that there's, like, a special prison location for, you know, we can't put this guy with everyone else because he'll stir him up, or he knows too much kind of thing. You couldn't put him in one of those. He has to be in the Batcave. Not that it's not a well-written scene, it's just, this really, really needs a catch-up page. Like, you get a little something in the back, but you really, really need something, like, either to take part of that scene out, or you just really, really need a catch-up page for whatever the hell is going on with Batman Eternal. But yeah, I really do like this. I would put it right under Arkham Asylum, Living Hell, or right under Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and right above Living Hell. So the order goes Serious House, Manor, Living Hell, Madness. There are things I like about Madness, but it's just, it's such a weak story. But yeah, good stuff overall. I was really quite pleased with this. I love... Oh, and Arkham Reborn. Where would I put... Serious House, Reborn, Manor, Living Hell, Madness. So yeah, I really like Arkham stories. They're probably my favorite thing for Batman stories, so... Yeah. Good stuff. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode of Comic Reviews. If you have any suggestions for comic books coming out month to month that you would like me to pick up, please leave those in the comments below. I promise to pick up at least one issue, and if I like it well enough, I will add it to my pull list. Black Panther is coming out soon, and that's going on my pull list. Or if you have any suggestions for graphic novels or trade paperbacks that I should keep an eye out for, please leave those in the comments below as well, and I will keep my eyes open, and if I see one, I will pick it up and review it here on the show for you. Or if you would like to send me graphic novels or trades to review, please get in touch with me in the comments or something, and we'll discuss setting that up, because I'm open to doing that too. Alright everyone, thank you very much for listening, or watching. Sorry, I'm used to podcasting. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time. Bye.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.